It's now time for our theme song, and let's put it on the screen so that we can sing the theme song. Let's all be upstanding. Thank you very much, Christline, and thank you everyone in the auditorium. Kindly have your seat. And those of you watching us across board Hope Channel, 3ABN, and the various social media platforms. Like I said this morning, it's about wealth creation, wealth management, and wealth multiplication. And that is basically innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. And so we have two lectures coming up. The first one that we are about receiving is by a friend and one of the foremost Ghanaian entrepreneurs and a brother. He is a social entrepreneur, a business coach, author, speaker, certified trainer in entrepreneurship development, a certified expert in SME finance, a certified expert in digital finance, and certified expert in agricultural finance. He is currently the Director of Business Support and Policy for the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program under the Office of the President of the Republic of Ghana. He is a co-founder of a couple of companies in Ghana. He is a former managing director of a 21-branch financial institution and a former general manager of a private television company also in Ghana. He is an IBA accelerator and a mentor. He currently trains thousands of young professionals in Ghana and across Africa to build sustainable businesses to compete on the global stage. He is currently the chairman of the Ghana Startup Act Committee and a global innovation advisor with the International Development Innovation Alliance. Here again, he enjoys training startups and SMEs on how to build businesses from scratch, developing blueprints to startups, fundraising for startups and SMEs, business management skills, and building strong corporate governance systems. He is a top-class SME consultant and sits on many business panel pitches across Ghana and Africa. He is currently the lead team member for the NEIP for the World Bank project and part of the technical committee on the Ghana Economic Transformation Program with the World Bank and the Ghana Digital Acceleration Project under the World Bank as well. He's not just an entrepreneur, he's also an author with 3 books to his credit and more to count soon. He's an adjunct lecturer in digital transformation for the Akenton Apia Menka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurship Development, codenamed Amusted. And he's a part-time practical entrepreneurship lecturer for the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. We are here to receive with round of applause for our first lecture on entrepreneurship this morning, our brother and friend, Franklin Owusu Kekari. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. You are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. I welcome all those online and all those in the auditorium to the day 4 of the UPLIFT program. It is a joy to be here, and it is a joy to speak to thousands of people who are also viewing online. I bring you greetings from the Akenton Apia Menka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development. This is a university which was previously known as the University of Education, Kumasi Campus. And it was a joy and a thrill to touch many lives of young people from Thursday, which was the 1st of September, to yesterday, the 3rd of September. We looked at how education and jobs are being transformed through the 4th Industrial Revolution. And we challenged the young people that the time has come for the young people of this country, the young people of Africa, to begin to think differently. Otherwise, the current system of technology and digital transformation happening in the world will make them obsolete in the corporate markets. So we challenge the young people in 3 key areas: as educated minds, as educated hands, and as educated hearts. And at the end of the 3-day presentation, some of the students surrendered their lives in baptism to the glory of the Lord. About 13 students were baptized. Friends, the time has come that we need to be able to look at how best we are moving with the world, how we can also continue to be in tune with the current system and the current happenings around the globe. My dear friends, on this note, I welcome you to day 4 of the UPLIFT program. And I want to tell my friends who are not in Ghana that Akwaba, you are warmly welcome. This is just a brief about me. What you see here, the numbers you see on the screen represent some of the things we are doing. Friends, I have been in the church for 26 years. I was baptized into the Seventh Adventist Church in 1996. And that is enough time to learn everything that I need to learn about the church and how we can be able to help transform the future of the church. You see 5+2. That is our vision together with my wife, that in the next 5 years, we started from 2021, that through our 7 businesses, the 5 businesses that we are building, we want to create wealth, at least our net disposable income that we can also use to fund God's business, $2 million within the next 5 years. 1 year is already down the line, and we are working hard to it. And this evening, I'm going to show you how this is possible and how we are going to do it. I am 41 years old, and the Lord has granted me life for me to live. I am married for the past 13 years, and I have 2 girls. One is 12, one is 10. And they have a vision of creating their own companies before they are 16 years old. And one of them already has her company name, and she's working towards building her company. Friends, we need to begin to change the minds of our young people. Business as usual cannot continue, and the church must be looked at in a different light as we near the close of time and see the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Friends, certain things keep me awake every night, and I cannot. We traveled through, we finished our presentation at the Akintiapiaminka University by 6 p.m. We have to go and pack juice and bread and bring to the UPLIFT program. We set off, we go to Accra 1 a.m. By the time we settled down to sleep, it was 2 a.m. We have to wake up 5 a.m. to make sure that we are here 8 a.m. at the UPLIFT conference room. Friends, we cannot sleep, for we have a short time and it won't be long. Our Lord will come, but we must make best use of the little time we have. And some of us are so satisfied with the little we have and the little we are contributing towards our home, our community, our country, and our continent. We did not sleep. Friends, if nothing is chasing you, you are really relaxed and comfortable. But when something is chasing you, if a lion is chasing you, if a dog is barking at you, you will jump a 7-foot wall without even realizing that we have jumped a 7-foot wall. Many people are comfortable. Many people are relaxed. Many people are okay with the little they have. Friends, some of us cannot sleep. When you were born into a family of poverty, when you are born into a family of poverty, you cannot sleep because you need to feed your people. When you visit your village and someone will ask you, "Uncle, can I have 1 cedi so that we can buy fish to prepare food for the family?" It moves you to tears. What can 1 cedi do? Sometimes you don't have any option than to empty your entire wallet and give to people. Friends, in the church, when we attend church on the Sabbath, on Sunday you visit churches. After close of church, people want to see you, not to ask you questions about the sermon, but to put before you their plea to feed the family, their plea to pay their children's school fees, their plea to be able to make a living. We cannot sleep. Friends, we cannot sleep when we have a continent that have a situation. This is the current situation. When you look at the screen, we have the current countries with the highest youth unemployment. And our country, South Africa, is leading. Our friend South Africa is leading the course. Sometimes Europe and America pretend as if that they have no issue when it comes to youth unemployment. And if you look at the top 10 countries, America is part of the countries that are bewildered with youth unemployment. So it's a global crisis all of us find ourselves in. It is a critical issue that we need to be able to have a look at it. That is why when we bring it down home to our country, Ghana, friends, the statistic is staggering. You look at it, and that in this country, we are a population of about 30.8 million people. This 30.8 million people, those between the age bracket of 18 to 35, are about 17.8 million. And out of this, if you put together the total unemployment, youth unemployment rate we have in the country is 12.6%. That is critical. And that we must find a way. Friends, we need to be able to be up. In Ghana here, every year we have 109,000 young people that comes out of the universities every year. It's the same and more, even much more in Nigeria, in South Africa, in Uganda, in Kenya, in Zambia. Many graduates are being churned out from these universities. Friends, Africa will need to create 10 million jobs to be able to absorb the graduates that are coming out of our schools every year. That is staggering, and that we must look at it critically. If you look at the demography, we're just comparing some data from Ethiopia, Nigeria, South Africa, and Ghana, and it will surprise you. when we look at the job mismatch in Africa, some of us cannot sleep. We have so many graduates coming out, and many in Africa are saying that there are no jobs. But just a year ago, we did a research in Ghana. We've also benchmarked it with other data from other African countries, Ethiopia, Nigeria, South Africa. And if you look at the job mismatch, in Ethiopia, graduates who have skills but do not match the industry is about 3%. That of Nigeria is about 6%. That of South Africa is about 9%. In Ghana, our mismatch rate is 15%. So we found out, we interviewed close to about 300 businesses. And I can tell you the truth that 50% of employers in Ghana have vacancies that they do not have. And citizens are saying that we have graduated, but we do not have jobs. There's a complete mismatch. Something must be done. This picture is the true picture also of our church. It is a reflection of what is in the church as well. Friends, by 2024, we are going to have 6.6 million young people. We did this calculation based on the current free SHS in Ghana. And we benchmark with the output that comes every year. By 2024, 6.6 million young people between the ages of 18 to 35 are joining the Ghanaian workforce. Where do we place them? And the church shouldn't be sitting aloof, because this 6.6 million, part of them are church members. What direction is the church also given in terms of ensuring that our members will not graduate and come out of school empty and struggling to fit in? Friends, employees, within the COVID period, the church cannot sit aloof. The church cannot sit aloof on this one. And just exactly that time, we're rolling a program out by our outfit, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. The program was to provide some skill sets for vulnerable youth and also for the entire youth bracket. We're able to provide support for 46,000 young people. And through our program, I met some of the young girls. You meet a 16-year-old girl who has 3 children. And they live in abject poverty. Can you imagine 10-year, 14-year-old girl pregnant? This is the reality. And don't think that some of them are not Christians. Most of them were born and Christianed in the church. Friends, girls between 15 and 19 years got pregnant. This cannot let you sleep. This cannot let you sleep. Let me share another staggering statistics with you. There's something we call needs. Neither in education or employment or training. When we start the part of education in Ghana today, we start with about almost over 800,000 children. As they progress on the ladder, you'll find 10% in apprenticeship. About another 5% go into vocational, institutional, and technical streams. The technical institutes absorb about 7% of this number. About 55% of these over 800,000 young people go into senior high school. Now, when they progress from the senior high school, out of over 800,000 people, only 243,000 are able to progress to the universities. That is 29% of those we progress. You see how we throw people behind the scene. And the church has a role to play in this, because some of these people who are thrown are also within the church. And you have 71% of them neither in education, neither in employment, neither in training. This is sad. They are virtually just idle in this country. 71% of these young people, that is how the progression is. And it happens in most African countries. Should the church stand aloof and look at this? We are not doing well if we should be able to just eat and sleep and preach the Bible and go to bed. Friends, we have a duty as a church. We owe it to our communities What of these 71% working? A lot of them are on the streets. A lot of them are in the villages. And that's why they have the freedom to be able to get pregnant at the age of 10 because there's nothing to do. We are not doing well as a church. And friends, the UPLIFT program is an avenue for the church to rethink certain things. But until our eyes are open for us to see that we are not doing well, friends, it will be too late. It will be too late. How is the church taking steps to prepare the generation that is coming up? And sometimes some of us are getting tired already because we need to move out and provide that holistic education for young people so we can begin to change the demography of world creation, how things are done. Friends, the future of work and education is staggering. And the church sits aloof, will be left behind without knowing. And the future of work is also the future of the church. If the church does not work in commensuration with the current trend of the digital innovation and the current trend of the education and the current trend of training new minds, the church will be available. The church room will be there, but it will be filled with people who are not educated. And educating, I'm not talking about schooling. Because I tell the young people that never allow your schooling to interfere with your education. We need to begin to rethink. Friends, if in a future of unprecedented societal shift, education is crucial to managing the challenges ahead. What is happening to Christian schools? All are absorbed by government. So the values are dropping. What is happening to my church school? From basic to the university. I can tell you the truth, in the next 5 years, students will no longer just go through the process of being applied to go to a university. No, students will sit at home in the comfort of their rooms and be able to, like Netflix, select the kind of education they want. University may become obsolete. And it is in and it is coming very soon. If the church doesn't prioritize, our institutions will just be a building where we can only put people to sleep, but not to train minds. Things are changing with more automated, digital, and fluid job markets. Today's higher education system are quickly becoming incompatible with the future we are looking towards. We are 2 decades into the 21st century, yet higher education generally still geared towards succeeding in the 20th century. We do a lot of things as if we are in the 20th century still. Let me share this with my church leaders, with the Christian community, with educators in Africa. Friends, the jobs in Africa, the jobs globally are diminishing. About 75 million jobs are declining. Let me just share the top 10 declining jobs. If your church members are found in the area of data entry clerks, in the area of accountants and bookkeepers, and payroll clerks, administrative, executive secretaries, assembling and factory hands, client information and customer service, accountants and auditors, material recording and storekeepers, general and operational managers, friends, these jobs are becoming endangered species, and they already are extinct. And in the church, most of our children are in accounting, are in the humanities. They will come out and be a burden to the church again because what they pursued is obsolete. Until the church become pragmatic and ensure that we have to give our children a future and a hope, which Jeremiah talks about, we need as a church to set up and begin to transform the minds of the young people. We need to begin to transform the mind. And this is what UPLIFT is seeking to do, to enhance the work of the church. Just that. But when leadership does not see vision, friends, when we cannot see vision from the point of educators, when we cannot see vision from the point of parents, when we cannot see vision from the point of government, when we cannot see vision and leadership from the point of the clergy, from the point of the laity, who will also be found wanting, just like nations that are found wanting. Friends, the 30.8 million, how much is the church strategizing to have as a market share? We have 17.8 million young people. It forms about 57 to almost 60% of the youth bracket, and this is the component of the Christian community. Some churches, some religious groups are thinking ahead. So they are putting measures in place to have a market share of this 17.8 million. That is the future of every nation and every country. That is where the world is going to come from. What strategies is our church also putting in place? This evening, I'm going to share with all the professionals within the Christian community, the professionals within the Seventh Adventist Church. I will share with you how we don't have to become ordinary professionals, but think to become extraordinary professionals that will hold the world of this nation. Friends, where the world is going right now, the church needs to strategize on three things. Number one, digital knowledge. This is where the world comes from. You want to be rich and you have no idea in the world of digitalization. Friends, you are already an endangered species. Number two, proactive job search skills. Proactive job search. How are we training our church members to be in the position of proactive job search skills? This is what can create the wealth. This is what can turn the tithe ratio around. This is what can support our ministries, our agencies as a church, our supporting institutions like the hospitals, like Hope Channel, like 3ABN, like our schools, like our food services. It is the money and people within this bracket that can be able to provide the solution. And the third one is entrepreneurship. And in the evening, I will draw much more in that aspect. How can professionals who are already engaged begin to earn multiple streams of income? How can those who are coming out from school and have no business can be able to begin to position themselves to attract wealth? Friends, wealth is not just something that you go to school and you find a job and create it. You must have a skill set that attracts the wealth. If you have nothing like that, no money will come into your hands. Friends, this evening, join us here in the auditorium. And wherever you are in any part of Africa, join us as virtually we look at the dynamics of the current proactive disruption that we can cause in our globe today. And this evening, I'll dwell a little bit on this, what is on the screen. If the church wants an economic transformation, if the country I find myself wants economic transformation, these components must be held in high esteem. If the church wants to create a people who controls the wealth, these must be critically looked at. One of them we call systems. Sometimes I sit back when I meet some of Christian church leaders, when I meet some of the religious church leaders, I say, what systems have you put in place to attract wealth from the next generation? And obviously, some do, some don't. There's no system in place that will look at the next 10 years, the next 5 years, the future of the coming generation. The next one to look at is innovations. I've captioned my presentation this evening, the 11th commandment, thou shalt innovate. And you don't have to miss it. And friends, it is the 11th commandment when you go to Jerusalem today, thou shalt innovate. And that is where the world is heading to. The third one is sustainability plan. What sustainability plan are we putting in place to ensure that the church doesn't lack? We have a generation that is standing tall and they have the resources to impart. Number 4 is funding. Friends, I can tell you there's money circulating around the globe. There's money circulating around Africa. There's money circulating in Ghana. Free money, grants, a lot of grants. It's circulating around. I'm chasing some right now to go and do a project in Liberia. Pastor Gete, I'm coming into your territory. Friends, we can't sit just in Ghana. Some of us are seeing opportunities. I was in Sierra Leone 3 months ago, amazing. My man was blown away. And when I flew over Liberia, I said, I need to come to this country. Friends, we think we are deprived. We think we are poor. We think there's no solution. Where there is problem, that is where the money is. And the church must have a foresight to begin to control the resources at this point. The fifth one is strategy. If you have systems, you have plans to innovate, you have sustainability plan, you have funding, what strategy do you attract to begin to maintain your people? Friends, I can tell you the truth that we are having a lot of Christians going to school now. We have a lot of Seventh Adventists going to school now. At the University of University of Science and Technology, we run 2 shifts in church service. There's an auditorium that takes over 600, but it cannot contain the students. So we do 2 services at KNUST. These are the cream de la cream of the church. The same number, over 800 in the University of Cape Coast. University of Education, Winneba is churning out some good Adventist professionals, some good Christian professionals. Oh, University of Ghana is doing similar. But look, if you don't have a strategy, these people, by the time they are well-to-do, the church no longer looks attractive to them. So they'll have to find places where they can put the money that we have taken care of them and prayed for them over the years. And the money is channeled outside where it's supposed to be. There should be a strategy to be able to create that wealth and sustain that wealth. The last one, the mega trends. When we say the mega trends, friends, even our inspired writer said that we cannot be late. We cannot be late and be behind. We need to stay close to the tide so that we can be able to flow along using the mega trends to also finish God's business. Friends, how relevant is the church in the space? And this is where I have huge burden. When I look at my own church, we have lost grip of the health sector. We have lost grip of the educational sector. We have lost grip of the food sector. We have lost grip of the technological sector. How relevant are we to the economy of Africa? How relevant is the church to the economy of Ghana? If churches were to be closed down today, what would be our defense if only 2 churches were to be maintained in Ghana? What would be our defense to tell them that we are handling these essential services, and as such, when we are off, the entire economy of Ghana will come crumbling down? We don't hold any grip. There's a proverb in an Akan language in Ghana. If you are a salt, your presence will not even be felt, your taste will not even be felt in the soup. Friends, God has placed in the hearts of members of this church, of the members of the Christian community, a dream. A dream. And I meet young people every day. We need modern Josephs today. And Dr. Pepin would say, we need the sons of Issachar at this time. Modern Josephs. And I've shared it a couple of people, including Adra, that if the church can control even the source of food in this country, will become so relevant. When God gave Joseph the dream, Joseph was positioned at a point in time to become the controller of how global food will be distributed in the land of Egypt. This is the time for Seventh-day Adventist Christians, for modern-day Christians, Catholic, Anglican, Presby, Methodist, wherever you are listening to us from. But particularly my people, Seventh-day Adventists, This is the time for us to begin to control the source of food in this country. What can the church do? To have large barns of maize, large barns of yams, large barns of different raw material. Create warehousing for these. Build barns. Control the food stocks, the food basket. When it comes to healthy living and healthy foods, Seventh-day Adventists are known to be number one in this area, but we have no leverage on. But this is a challenge. If we can begin to control the source, and after, in my small way, and it's going to go the bigger way. We met Dangote in Nigeria, and we met also Tony Elumelu, the chairman of the UBA group. And I've learned some things from Dangote said, I want to make sure that Dangote is found in every home in Nigeria. Nigeria has a population over 200 million. If Dangote is in every home of Nigerian, and he's even making just 1 naira, that is 200 million naira every day. Yesterday, I shared something with the student as Akintapi Minka. Bill Gates makes $250 per second. By the time you blink your eyes and open, he makes $250. That is $20 million every day. $20 million every day. And it is not difficult to do. Between myself and my wife, our plan is to invest in the food sector. And sometimes we don't share a lot of the things, but this evening I'll open up to share certain things that is doable and is possible because we have tried it and it's working. We need to take control of the food source from maize, yam, and all the cereals, the fruit industry. We have to be able to have some professionals in this church who can be able to think and create value. When we are the embodiment of holding the source of the food in this country, the country will take you serious. Because we don't control any source, when decisions are being taken, nobody even mentioned our name. I have sat on roundtable discussions where names of religious bodies and churches are being mentioned for planning. And after they mentioned, I realized that we are out. Where do we place relevance? Friends, this is a personal quote. We must control the source of the wealth to have a grasp of the impact of the gospel. Friends, we must control the source of the wealth to have a firm grasp of the impact of the gospel. Now, people are being moved towards places where their needs will be met. People are moving to places where their needs will be met. That is why we need modern Josephs to begin to rethink how to salvage the situation. If there's going to be famine and we are people of the book, we are people of the prophecy, we know as we near the close of time, there will be famine. Joseph, God revealed to him. He didn't sit there. When the dream, he gave solutions. We know what is going to happen. There will be famine. What solutions are we providing to us? Where the whole world can run to us for food. I tell you, during the COVID era, at that time we have launched one of the new business line. And when the lockdown started after a week, friends, we were baking 100 bags of flour in a month. When you take the bread to the shop, 500 loaves, hot, they will not allow the bread to cool. People were fighting over during the COVID era. As soon as you step in the house, the shops will be calling you, are you bringing new bread? Because people are queuing in my shop waiting for bread. Friends, it's going to happen. We need a generation who will think to take the source and control. God has already given us a prophecy. I will sit aloof and wait till its accomplishment. We are not doing well. And this evening, I want you to be here. As we share the practical steps, if you have nothing to do, what to do. If you're already working, a lot of our professionals have become lazy graduates and lazy professionals. office to the house, sit and watch DSTV, watch Champions League, eat and sleep. And that has become the routine. If that is your routine, you have nothing serious to achieve. We need modern day Josephs who will transform our country. Friends, the world follows where their needs will be met. Not only their spiritual needs, emotional needs, but also physical and financial needs. Some churches are providing drive for their members. They are providing strategic alliance for their members. I will not mention because a lot of people are watching. One of the biggest churches, charismatic churches in the country, has invited me twice to be in their midweek business strategy meetings to share with the church business community the opportunities that are available for their members to take advantage of. And not only me, all heads of ministries, departments, and agencies are invited regularly to do that. We've started something. We've shared the vision with our church leadership, and some bold steps have started. We pray that we can enrich it and begin to create a new generation. Friends, we need some Christian professionals to tap into the wealth of the nation. Africa has a private wealth of 2.1 trillion. In Africa alone, private wealth of 2.1 trillion. God wants us to tap into that wealth. Philippians 4:13 said, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We need certain kinds of people. If you're a professional hearing my voice today, we need to set up. There's money in Ghana. There's money in Africa. There's money across the globe circulating. We can't let it fly around us. We need people with a vision, people with a focus to tap in for this business. Because it is much more just being an entrepreneur. Because it is about the kingdom business. It is about territorial dominance. God wants us to dominate the earth. Now, people are taking over the territorial dominance with their financial strength and capabilities. If we don't change the generation of the professionals we have in Ghana through the Seventh Adventist Church, we'll have other people with the world to control the territorial dominance in the Christian world. So they will hold fake gospel, but they have the resources, so people will go there. He said you have an authentic gospel. What do you use to attract the people to come to you? So it is about the kingdom business. It is about territorial dominance. And it's about financing, enhancing livelihood. People are suffering even in the church. We need to enhance livelihood. These three components is what keeps some of us awake every night. We cannot give excuses anymore. We cannot give excuses anymore. Jim Rohn, which is my last message, said that if you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And most of us love excuses. Most of us love excuses. If you really want to do something, friends, no matter how tough this country, how tough this continent is, you will find a way. If you don't, you always get a good excuse. There's always a good excuse. Who are those rising for the challenge? I invite you tonight, this evening, 6 p.m., at the Nat Auditorium. Those of you virtual, if you are not in Accra, join us. And let's look at practically how to be able to take advantage and build wealth for the kingdom of God. God bless you.
Brother Franklin, you need not say God to bless us. We have to say God bless you. God bless you so much. I believe this is a good time. And there is nothing else to say than for all of us to take advantage of what we have heard this morning and then to rise to this task. He said tonight, he has the key, the 11th commandment. Thou shalt innovate. Those of us watching, I always tell you that the feeling in the auditorium is different. It's something different. And you better watch out and make a move that tonight by 6 p.m. you are here. God bless you, Brother Franklin, once again. At this point, we would once again invite Christline Choir. They've already given us some wonderful tunes. And want to see them sing again. Even as they join us, I want you to be ready for our second speaker. Another wonderful presentation is coming up. And remember that when you sing well, you have prayed twice. Christline will join us very soon to sing. I want to say that whatever is happening here is not outside the Bible. It's not outside the Bible. Today, it is innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. We are focusing on wealth creation, wealth management, and then wealth multiplication. And don't forget that it is God who gives us power to make wealth. It is biblical. Jesus Christ said when we are faithful in little, he will put us in charge of more. That is his management. He said we would multiply. He will bless us, will be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth. That is what he said. That will take over the territories of the world. Subdue it, subdue it. And so we will do our best in this generation whilst we wait, work, and watch for the second coming of Christ. Christline will take over and give us a beautiful tune. I'll come back to introduce our second speaker, and then we would move on. A round of applause. A round of applause for them. Christline, you're just wonderful. You're just wonderful. God bless you. God bless you so much. God bless you. We are about to enter into the second segment of our presentation this morning. But before I introduce our lecturer, I should say, I have a little quiz based on what we are doing today. And the question is simple. There are two masters in this world. Who are they? Are you sure? He said, who are the two masters? They are afraid to say anything anymore. But all around the world, we think the two masters are God and Satan. Jesus says it is not true. The two masters are money and God. God and money. Let me prove that to you. If you have the biblical text with you, turn to Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, and listen to what Jesus Christ said. I'm saying this in agreement with the first speaker. Affluence is for influence. Affluence is for influence. Listen to Jesus. He said, no man can serve two masters. For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Now here comes the two masters. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. You cannot serve God and mammon. Mammon is money. Now, this is the struggle of many Christians. If you cannot serve God and mammon at the same time, then those who have money, the idea is that they have chosen money, and so they have rejected or neglected God. And so those who want God think that they have to reject money in order to have God. But that is not what Jesus is saying. When you serve money, when you make money your master, if money rules your life, if you serve money, you will lose God. But when you serve God, when God is your master, and you find money, money will serve you. I hope that is clear. When you serve God, when you know God, spiritually established, money will serve you. Affluence will give influence. Please, Christian church, and especially my friends from the same faith, Seventh-day Adventists, let's listen to what these great men are putting out. This morning, I took my bath, I brushed my teeth, I slept on bed, I washed myself and all that. Everything I did this morning is what? Money. Money. All right. This is not a lecture. I'm only here to introduce the next speaker. We have another great personality from this African soil. And for the last few days we've spent together, it tells me that Africa can really become independent. We can be of ourselves. His name, listen very carefully, his name is Dumisani Lingamangali Nkube. Dumisani Lingamangali Nkube. He is commonly known as the radical entrepreneur. You didn't hear that. He is the radical entrepreneur. He is an outstanding Zambian entrepreneur making a global footprint. His life is a tale of rag to riches. Despite being born at a village, he has risen from a childhood of herding animals to serving on numerous boards, receiving numerous local and international awards for his enterprising acumen, amongst them Zambian Entrepreneur of the Year. He has won the Zambian Entrepreneur of the Year 2018. Such a colossus. Despite having experienced 3 major setbacks in his entrepreneurship journey, he has still managed to build companies to become market leaders to a point that BBC had to cover him as a youth making an impact in Africa during the World Economic Forum, WEF 2019. He is currently championing an entrepreneurship revolution in Zambia, and I want to add, and all over Africa, by raising radical entrepreneurs with the DLN. This is the abbreviation of his name. So actually, the man is not just a human being. He is an institution. He is making contributions around the world with his DLN Entrepreneurship Institute. Dumisani, known as the radical entrepreneur, is a self-made and renowned entrepreneur and public speaker who has built the DLN empire consisting of DNL Technologies, Aduk Investments, Glad Tidings Software Limited, DLN Entrepreneurship Institute, and most recently, DLN Media. From a very young age, his determination and strong will to do business has seen his life change significantly from a village boy to a successful entrepreneur. He occupies a large space on the African continent and the world over. With a rousing welcome and applause, let us receive our second speaker, Dumisani. Let's give him a loud applause. He is the footprint of nanotechnology. Nanotechnology. Small package, but big inside. God bless you. We are ready to listen to you.
Good morning. How are we? It's such a pleasure to be here, and it was so nice to see Franklin, the previous presenter. We last met in 2018, and that was in Botswana. So it's such a pleasure to meet you here. And it is such a pleasure to reunite with Dr. Pipim. We last met, it should have been in 2018 as well, in Botswana. And good to see you here. And for myself as well, I'm so happy to come back to Ghana. I was last in Ghana. That was in 2018. It seems so much happened in 2018, eh? I'm so glad to be back. And we are going to share so much today. We are going to have a very, interactive day. So what I'll say through this morning is basically an intro of what we are going to discuss later on in the evening. So I would invite you to make sure that you don't get to miss this evening's presentation. It is extremely important. What I'm putting now is basically the base as we get started for the evening presentation. I'll be sharing with you why, when I visit certain countries, I'm welcomed by the head of state. When I visit certain countries, I'm welcomed by the cabinet. Certain other countries by the governors. I will explain how I managed to rise to where I am. So I'll share my story with you on how Dumisani rose from a simple village boy to the radical entrepreneur known. So this morning's presentation will revolve around that. And why people would gather in excess of 18,000 to listen to this guy. So I'll share that with you this morning. But before we get to my story, we are talking about more than just wealth. So to start with that, let me say this. It being a church gathering, since we are Christians here, let me remind us that there is nothing wrong with wealth. Nothing wrong. I think we tend to miss it from that point. We sometimes feel, when you become rich, then you are greedy, there is nothing wrong with you being rich. Literally, nothing wrong. And if you look, I don't even know where this thought of, the poorer you are, the holier you are comes from. I don't know. When your shoe is finished one side, then you are qualified to be an evangelist. I don't know where that thing comes from. That narrative must change. And you see, if you look through the Bible, most of our patriarchs were powerful. Most of our patriarchs were very powerful, very rich. So if you looked at Abraham was so rich, such that the nation could not hold him with a nephew, Lot. They had to go separate ways. That's how rich Abraham was. In fact, even after going separate ways, the nephew Lot was captured in the battle of Siddim. When Abraham heard that the nephew was captured, he sent 318 trained servants. Not all servants. 318 trained servants from his household. Now you have one maid and you want to make noise to us and you shouldn't even sleep. One maid. He had 318 trained servants. If you looked at Isaac was so powerful such that, the king had to chase him and he said, you have become mightier than we. That's how powerful he was. So if you look through all our patriarchs, these were very powerful people. But where do we get the message of poverty? Where do we entertain it from? And I hear some people say, no, it is okay to be poor. Jesus was born in the manger. Yes, it is true. Jesus was born in the manger, but it was circumstantial. There was a census taking place that side. They went from hotel to hotel, and all hotels were booked. That is why he was born in the manger. Not because of poverty. Don't comfort yourself in poverty. It is okay as God's children to be rich. And we have specialized in verses that seem, to support poverty. We have misinterpreted them. And amongst them, no, the love of money is the root of all evil. It is the love of money, not money itself. It is the love of money. By the way, who loves money more? The rich or the poor? The rich have it, they spend it. The poor are the ones that engage in sin to have money. See where prostitution is high, it is where poverty is. See where burglary is high, it is where poverty is. So don't comfort yourself in poverty. It is extremely important that we pick that. Are we together? And of course, there are certain verses that we've even specialized on. You see, it is difficult for the rich man to enter heaven, just as it is for the rich man, for the camel to enter through the eye of the needle, right? It is true. It is difficult for the rich man to enter heaven, just as it is for the camel to enter through the eye of the needle. But notice, it does not say it is easier for the poor man. At that point, the poor man is not mentioned. That league is too high. We can't start talking about the poor man. Because for the poor man, it is worse. We can't start talking about the poor man. And you see, look at the response from the disciples. They were exceedingly amazed. And they questioned him, saying, then who? I mean, if the rich can't, then who? Remember, if you're poor and you're failing to provide for your family, you are worse than an infidel. So let us not comfort ourselves in poverty. There is so much more that we can do as God's children if
we had the financial muscle. Hallelujah. Now that we have settled that, and by the way, you see, when the Bible says money answereth all things, it truly means it. There is so much that money can do if it is in the right hands. You see, when the World Cup is taking place, everyone knows everywhere. Even in my village, deep in the village where I come from, they will know that the World Cup is taking place. They will know. Do you know why they know? It is for a simple reason. So much money has been pumped in sports. In fact, it is a $1.3 trillion business. That's a lot of money. So much money has been pumped there. So as a result, everyone gets to know. Even things that don't make so much sense, they get to make sense. Why? Because so much money has been pumped. You see, what is so, well, it sounds normal now, but you look at it. What is so normal? With 22 grown-up men chasing packaged air for 90 minutes. What is so normal with that? Just think about it. 90 minutes sweating, chasing packaged air. As if that is not enough, 60,000 are watching the 22 men on the pitch. As if that is not enough, the millions are clapping for the 22 men on the pitch. What is so normal with that? It is normal for a simple reason. So much money has been pumped in, and things that are abnormal, they look normal. Now imagine if we, as God's children, had the financial muscle. How much more can we take the Advent message to the world? How much more can we take this good news to the world? How much more can we make this world a better place? As such, it is in our interest. It is for the good for God's children to have this financial muscle. Now, having said that and having laid that foundation, how then can we prepare ourselves to earn and have this financial muscle? One of the surest ways is entrepreneurship, which is what we'll be discussing today. Entrepreneurship. And why entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is one of the surest ways of becoming wealthy. 74% of the world's millionaires and billionaires are made because of entrepreneurship. They are self-made because of entrepreneurship. Those that rise through their careers, jobs, CEOs, those account for only 10%. 74%, those are entrepreneurs. And you see, the narrative was changed. And this narrative was changed across Africa. You see, back in the days, our parents said, go to school, get a job, and become successful. They were right. Because then, Africa had very few universities. So if you graduated from university, a job was already waiting for you. But now, tables have turned. Courses that guaranteed you a job can no longer give you a job on graduation. In our Zambian setup, if you graduate as a medical doctor, creme de la creme, 7 years behind the desk, a job is no longer waiting for them. They have to carry placards. Medical doctors. And this is the story across Africa. And the deficit keeps growing. The only people that will solve these challenges are entrepreneurs. Because entrepreneurs curb unemployment. Entrepreneurs bring about innovation. And entrepreneurs bring about national development. As such, we should begin entertaining the thought of entrepreneurship. Of course, back then, those that seek the route of entrepreneurship were risk takers. Those that go the route of being employed were risk averse. But now tables have changed. Those that decide to search for a job, those are the risk takers. Those that seek the route of entrepreneurship, those are risk averse. Why? It takes an average of 6 years to get a job in your field of study. Now imagine on graduation, 2 people. One decides to seek for employment and one decides to enterprise with his or her skills. Who has higher chances of making it? Certainly one who seeks the route of entrepreneurship. And we feel you would be a lot more secure once you get a job. It doesn't happen that way. I am an entrepreneur. And when my business is going bad, especially with the coming in of COVID, 2019. What happened? The people who were knocked out first were employees. Before the entrepreneur is knocked out of business, you must fire the employees. Before you, the entrepreneur, you are fired out of your business. So who are risk takers? The employees. As such, it is time that we begin entertaining the thought of entrepreneurship. It is extremely important. If you are looking at changing the narrative of Ghana, if you are looking at changing the narrative of Africa, we need to begin entertaining the thought of entrepreneurship. It takes yourself and myself to change this narrative. And you need to realize this simple fact. There is no single government in the entire world that can curb the high levels of unemployment. Not a single government. The people that curb the issues of unemployment are entrepreneurs. One employing 5, one employing 10, one employing 20. These are the ones that curb the challenges of unemployment. As such, it calls for yourself and myself to rise to the occasion. And I can ground that I'm coming from. In fact, it is a place where we are learning English in a local language. Yeah, we are learning in a local language. In fact, even English itself, we learned it in a local language. That's where I'm coming from. Then from my village, I moved to a school called Matero Boys Secondary School. Matero Boys Secondary School is a very special school. It's one of the schools that have a very high cutoff point, where you get to meet, the rich and the poor at the same school. So it was from that school that I began my entrepreneurship journey. And I'll be pausing so that maybe pick certain lessons. When I started Matero Boys, I started the business of selling pamphlets. And what I would typically do is that my colleagues were interested in the materials I was utilizing. So for those colleagues that were interested, I would tell them to say, pay me. Once you've paid me, I'll then deliver the pamphlet the following day. So they would pay me, then I would deliver the following day. I'll use their money to go make photocopies of the pamphlets, then deliver the following day. What do we pick from that? What we pick from that is this. Sometimes we think that for us to start our business, we can only start and flourish in business when we have financial capital. I should indicate that financial capital is important, yes, but it has its place. The most important form of capital is intellectual capital. That is the most important form of capital. Because if financial capital is the most important form of capital, then those that have gotten their pensions would have become rich. Those that have gotten their savings would have become rich. But they have not made it because they did not invest in their intellectual capital. So in your getting, be sure to invest in yourself, because the most important form of capital is intellectual capital. So I started my journey from there. From my Matero Boys, during the holiday, I got to the village and I started a kiosk. I don't know how you call a kiosk here. So a kiosk is a very small shop where you are selling, simple glossaries, And what would basically do, it was so small such that having 3 bottles of 750 ml cooking oil, I would beat my chest and say, we are stocked up. It was so small. So I began from there addressing the needs that were in my community. That was at the village. And there is something interesting that I want to share with you. Possibly we can pick a lesson from that. One of the things that I was selling was what we call in our Zambian setup, kasepa. Now, kasepa, there is fish. There is fish and there is sardine. Then kasepa is one of the cheapest. It's like, finger size. It's one of the cheapest kind of fish. Very, very cheap. So in our village, those who are poor, who call the poor bosses. You see, poverty is also in levels. Now, those who call the poor bosses would then buy kasepa. So just for you to get it in context, a meda, a bucket of carpenter would cost, or a bucket of sardine would cost 30 kwacha then. But a meda, same quantity of kasepa, would be like 6 kwacha. So it was very cheap. So those who are poor would then get that. So people used to make fun of it. And I remember at one time, I was contributing to a conversation that was taking place with peers. As I was trying to contribute, one of my, friends just shouted at me and said, "You get out of here, just know how to sell kasepa." And everyone laughed. Now here's something interesting. The gentleman who said that had nothing of his own. I had something of my own, and is making fun of me, and everyone is laughing. And all those who are laughing had nothing of their own. What we pick from that is this. There are a number of us who think that I can't do this business because how are they going to look at me? I'm a graduate. I passed so well. Or maybe I'm beautiful. Maybe I'm that. I can't do this kind of business. We worry so much about what people would say to a point that we don't engage in our businesses. I would want to challenge you. And this is the challenge I had for the gentleman who said, "Get out of here. Just know how to sell kasepa." I said this. In fact, I wanted to respond to him, but I couldn't because I have fought 2 battles in my life. The first battle is the battle of poverty. The second battle that I've fought in my life is stammering. I used to stammer a lot. I couldn't finish words. So when that guy said that, and I wanted to respond to him, it dawned on me to say, by the time I'm finishing one sentence, this guy would have said 5 more sentences. So I put myself on the scale and I was found wanting. So instead of responding, I just said these words in myself. I said, you don't know my journey. So these are the words that I would want you to go with. Whatever circumstances that come your way, just say, you don't know my journey. There are a number of us who are failing to take off for a simple reason. Maybe life was good, you had a very good job and all was well. Then life went downside. Life went south. But you are failing to move from that expensive suburb to one which is a bit cheaper. To move from that very expensive vehicle to one which is a bit cheaper. For a simple reason. We worry so much about what people say. People that get to make it are those who would say, you don't know my what? My journey. It is your journey, and you are the author and finisher of your journey. So you are the one who knows what you're doing. So when life is going down, don't fear to sell. Because we worry so much, no, they will laugh at us. How are they going to look at us? You can adjust because you know your journey. That is extremely important. Then from the kiosk, I started trading in goats. So I would get into deeper villages. You see, I come from a village. Then to buy goats, I would then go to the village. Meaning deeper in the village. I would buy goats to sell in Lusaka. Then I realized that villagers loved barter system. So you take goods that they're interested in, then they exchange with goats. Then I knew one of the things that they loved were bicycles. So I would then buy a bicycle from Lusaka, take it to my village. Then from the village, I would set off at 04 in the morning, 4 a.m., ride it to deeper villages. I would get that side around, 9. 9, 10, I would have exchanged my bicycle with an average of 4 or 5 goats. Because I was limited in capital, I would then have to walk with those goats back to my village. So it's a journey that would take me 4 a.m., I ride to deeper villages. 9, 10, I've exchanged with the goats, 4 or 5 goats. I tie them next to the other, then walk with those goats to my village. So it's a journey that would take me from 10 a.m. to get to my village. It will be 1 a.m. the following morning. Now that is continuous walking. And then I was about 15 years old. It was a journey where when I get to my village, I would literally feel the heartbeat from under my feet. I don't know if you've ever walked for a long time, then you put your feet, then you start, getting the pulse from under your feet. That called for hard work. So if you are to become an entrepreneur, hard work is inevitable. You need to be a hard worker. And I learned it at that point. Young on. I learned it at that point. And just as of sharing, you know goats. Goats are very energetic. Do you have goats here? You do? Goats are very energetic. The first half of the journey, they are running from one end of the road to the other. So you have to run with them. Run with them. And you see, I even got to realize that a human being is very strong. You see, by the time you are hitting half the journey, goats are tired. They will start sleeping on the road. Literally sleeping on the road. I tried pushing the goats, it wasn't working. I tried whipping them, it wasn't working. Then I devised a way. So what I would do is that I would tickle them. You know tickling? I would tickle them. Once I tickle the goats, they will be re-energized for the next 25 minutes before they start sleeping. But don't ask me where I used to tickle, how I used to tickle. I don't want such questions. That ends here. Just know that I used to tickle and they'll be re-energized. Is that fine? Not that no, Dumisani, radical, how, what, That ends here. But you see, that called for hard work. So what I want you to pick out is this. For you to become a successful entrepreneur, hard work is inevitable. You need to be a hard worker. And hard work begins where you are. While it's in school, you need to begin pushing to work hard. While it's in your current employment, you need to become a hard worker just there. Because, you see, we have people that will say, here, let me not work so hard because I'm just employed. But when I start my own company, me, I'll be a hard worker. No, me, when I start. You see, you are not a robot to change your work out. Hard work is a trait which is built over time. And you need to realize that hard work is a trait that you need to deliberately build. And here's something interesting. Every year, towards the year end, people make resolutions. Me, wait. New year, new me. Come, 1st January. I'll be new me. 1st January, I'll be closer to God. 1st January, I'll be working hard. 1st January, I'll be exercising. We make resolutions. As early as September, November, me, here, I'm just playing around for the last time. So that once we get to the new year, I can start on a very good note. So let me play around for the last time. January comes. Well, it surely will come. 1st January, you push yourself in those new resolutions. 1st January. 2nd January. By the time you are getting to the 5th of January, your body just says, why are you just troubling me? Back to default settings. So if you are to become a hard worker, start. But the unthinkable happened. 12th March 2010. Wellest at Park Station in South Africa. I was robbed, not at gunpoint, but at knife point. The guys got all the money that I had in my pockets. The only money that survived was in my inner pocket. Of course, don't ask me which inner pocket. Just know that there was a pocket somewhere and it had a bit of money. From that money that was in the inner pocket, it was enough for my transport back to Lusaka with a little change. The little change, I decided to buy myself a white suit as a reminder that I was once a businessman. So when I got back to Lusaka with my suit, it was a great reminder that I was once a powerful university as a mature to now get a degree. So he had experience in teaching. This teacher, then this software guy was developing an application that would solve these challenges. So one time, I find this software guy working on the thing. Then he tells, and that package, we then called it Glad Tidings e-School. And that was founded when I was 20 years old. That was the first company as a team of us, the three of us. What do we pick from that if we pause there? You see, it is important for us to realize that there is so much more that we can achieve if we are willing to work with others. A number of us are not willing to work with others. No, this is my idea. This 100% mine. You see, you should be willing to work with others. It helps you grow and it helps you achieve so much more. You look at our partnership. I understood business. I am a chartered accountant. The other one was the software guy. He knew nothing about business. The other one was a teacher. So when we came together, we made a formidable force. So you need to realize that that business that you have been thinking about, maybe you need to synergize and work with others. That is extremely important. And if you looked at all the rich people, even the time Bill Gates was the richest man in the world, he just owned 16% of Microsoft. The rest was owned by others. The challenge we have is that we want to own 100% of nothing. 100, this is mine, but it is nothing. How about owning a small percentage of something huge and something great? So anyway, Glad Tidings Software Limited started off. And we started selling from school to school, moving. And I was in charge of marketing since I understood business more. Moving from school, and we made a bit of money, and all was moving, and that's how life began changing. But again, a problem comes in. 2012, that software guy, he was so bright such that he was the only gentleman who graduated with a distinction degree in the whole School of Natural Sciences. So on graduation, the vice chancellor of the biggest university in Zambia told him to say, we want you back as a lecturer. But before you become a lecturer, you need to be sent out to get, your master's. So 2012, towards the end, he was meant to go to London for a Commonwealth scholarship. Now I looked at myself, so the company was just taking off. So we had just made a little money. I'm not a software guy, and the software guy is going. This other one is just a teacher. So how are we going to run this company? I then resolved from the little money that I had made to say, no, let me go and invest in farming at the village. Why? In 2012, February, March, a crate of tomatoes. How do you sell your tomatoes here? Do you sell them in crates? Crates, yes. A crate of tomatoes was selling for 150 kwacha, which I would estimate at about $10, today's currency, about $10. Now, that was a lot of money. So we are towards the end of 2012. My thinking is that with this money that I have, let me go invest in tomatoes so that 2013, around February, March, the same period, I should make these profits from tomatoes. So from all the money that I had, I invested in tomatoes. 2013, all was well. Every week, I would pick a minimum of 150 crates. So these would come with trucks, 150, 500 crates of tomatoes. So every 2 weeks, a minimum of 1,000 crates. Now here's something interesting that happens. A crate of tomatoes that was selling for 150 kwacha in 2012. 2013, same period, it moves from 150 to 7 kwacha per crate. Transport to the market, 6 kwacha. The crates, the people picking at the farm, per crate, it is 1 kwacha. Then the crates were normally owned by people at the market who get a commission from using their crates. It was a huge loss, a loss to a point that it was better for you not to tamper with tomatoes in the field. Because if you tamper with them, by the time you are done selling, you remain owing the transporter. So it was a total loss. And that's how I lost it. And you see, like I said, in business there is profit and loss. So I underwent that loss. And since I'm seeing a number of youths here, I'll share this. At about the same time, I also had the sweetheart, bae. I don't know how you call. How do you call them? Do you call them bae here as well? I had the bae, sweetheart. I loved her so much. So I decided after the losses, you see, I remained owing workers and I sold the motorbike I had to pay workers, but I still remained owing them. So I got to the city to meet Bay and explain. So I told Bay, you see, Bay, we've made, losses this side, and things are very bad. But don't worry, I'll keep pushing. We'll make it. You see, even that motorbike that I had, I have sold it. But don't worry, we shall rise. And we shall rise. So Babe was listening. And in fact, at that point, we had a particular network provider that had a very good promotion. For a very small amount, we would talk, for 90 minutes during the day and free talking at night. So I even tell her, do you know what? We are going to buy SIM cards for this network provider so that, we cut down on our costs. My babe is listening. And she was agreeing with me. It was on a Wednesday. Thursday, I call Babe after that meeting. Because I'd promised her that on Friday I'll buy SIM cards and we can use this network which is cheaper. Thursday, I'm calling Babe. Babe is not picking the phone. Friday, Babe picked and said, let me call you back. I think she forgot. She didn't call. Saturday, no feedback from my sweetheart. Sunday, in the afternoon, when the sun was this side. No wonder you see, there's the way I feel every time the sun gets this side. I received a message. And the message was, you see, this thing, now, it's a relationship and someone is saying thing. This thing is not making sense. Now, I don't know if you've ever been there where you receive a message, you read the first line and finish the message. You're like, what is coming up next? This thing is not making sense. Live your life as I live my life. Closing remarks. It was, in fact, lose my number. I said, you are lying. I will apologize. What have I done? And she was not responding. Okay, forgive me for what I did. I'm really sorry. I don't know what it is, but please forgive. Now, there was no chance, and that was the end. You see, breakups are bad. They are naturally bad. But there are those breakups that prepare your heart, where you start seeing 1 week, 2 weeks, the person is not picking and things are this way. It prepares your mind to say anything is possible. Now mine, it was bang, green, done. And she's not picking calls and she's not replying. It is done. That was very painful. This side, I'm crying about tomatoes. And this other end, baby is gone. But interestingly, that friend, that software guy, one morning he gives me a call. And he's complaining. You see, these guys, I think they are racist. You see, my visa, on the last minute, my visa hasn't what? He said, what did you say? The visa has not been approved. And so he says all those things. Don't worry, I'm sorry for what is happening to you. Such things shouldn't happen, but let me come. I want to hear your story very well. As I was getting to the guy's place, my mind was like, God has a way of taking care of his own. Now this guy fails to leave for London. Then I tell him, let us reorganize ourselves and push this company. So that's how we come back together. Now, instead of going school to school, I come up with a strategy to say, we'll go to provincial meetings where all head teachers are gathered and we make a presentation. And true to it, 50 days from being dumped, one province decides to get the package. And each school was paying 3,500 kwacha. So they said, no, you can visit schools. I said, no, we don't have to visit schools. We are going to have a 2 days training. Call all the schools to one gathering. Then we'll give a presentation for 2 days. So that's how I left Lusaka to this town called Mansa. As a broke guy, getting to Mansa, 08 hours, I was in charge of funds, so I was by the gate. I just see a queue of accountants paying. One school was giving us about $300 per school. Now there's a queue. So $300. I'm just getting, $300. $300. I had no time to even stretch up. The queue is too long. They're coming in. By the time I got to 10 hours, 10 a.m. that morning, I knew that my life has changed. 10 hours that morning, I knew that life will never be the same. 10 hours. Those that were coming from very far places, they are coming in. They say, no, sorry for coming late, but don't worry, come. At 12 hours, I went to a nearby branch to deposit the checks and cash. When I got that side, I knew that I had made it when I saw the branch manager come down to ask, where have you gotten this money from? At that point, I knew that for me, life will never be the same. 13 hours, because it is a 2-day training. 13 hours on day 1, my heart just couldn't stay in the body. It was pounding, I don't know how. I call my friend in Lusaka, my dear, search around for a car. Search around for a car. The gentleman calls back at 14 and says, you see, I have found a very nice, very strong Corolla. I don't know how Corollas are viewed here, but that side. So he says, I found a very nice Corolla. Then in my heart, because the Corolla is one of the cheaper vehicles. So when he said, I found a very nice, strong Corolla, I paused for a moment. Then he said, hello. I said, I'm here. You see, my friend, in this life, just when I said that, it was a statement to say, listen up, I can't drive a Corolla. I'm beyond that. I want an Allion, and it was the latest one then. An Allion Ranex going up. That is my level. So he searches for a car. At 15 hours, he sends pictures on BBM. There was BBM then. I wired money from the bank. 17 hours, he sends pictures of my car in Lusaka. As I was sleeping day 1, I knew that I was just smiling. I don't even, okay, money is nice, money. At night, you wake up, you're just smiling. Day 2 of training, the guy is talking about softwares on the PowerPoint. In my mind, I'm like, just finish this as you want to go. 17 hours, he says, you see, Lusaka is like, 800 Ks from that place. He says, no, we can sleep here so that tomorrow we start off very early in the morning. I said, my dear, I can't sleep here. We are going. Because in my heart, I was like, you see, you can die before you drive. You say life is unpredictable, but I get there first. So we moved the whole night. When I got to Lusaka, the car is there. Life has changed. I went to search for an apartment in a low-density area. Getting that side, I meet this landlord who was a widow. And she says, everything new. That's how my life changed. But since I'm talking to youths, I think it would be complete without saying this. Remember that is 50 days from being dumped, and my life has changed. I am roving in a latest vehicle in Lusaka. New apartment, everything new. My life is at the next level. Then my heart does what it does. Starts reminding me, remember 50 days ago. Remember 50 days ago. Then I decided to call Babe. So I call Babe. Then Babe says she's very busy to see me. Very busy. No, just give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, walk away. Of course, I knew that in that 5 minutes, as I arrive, the statement will be clear that life has changed. I am a gentleman. I can't say my life has changed. You don't do that. So I knew that as I arrived, the statement will be clear. But she refused. She was very busy. In my heart, I said, you are lying. I'll tell you. We had a mutual friend who was her friend and my friend. So I called the mutual friend and said, can I buy you lunch? She says, yes. So instead of going to the restaurant, I buy lunch in advance. So I have it in the car. So I get to a road called Cairo Road. I tell her, say, come near this building, just come. So she comes, and, she comes in the car, and she gets in, and, we chat about everything else, and I hand over lunch to her. But there's a problem. She's not asking about the car. I said, you are lying, I'll tell you. So then I told her, you see, me, I loved your friend. And your friend loved this car. So I had to buy this car because of my love for your friend. Ah, Dumisani, this is your car. Then I did not tell her to say, go tell her. In my heart, I just looked at her and said, I'm giving you 24 hours. Do the right thing. And that's how I left. Exactly 48 hours, I decided to call babe. The phone rang one. Gring, gring. As it was getting to the second one, gring. I just said, Dumi. I said, hi. And she was so nice to me. Where are you? Oh, no, we're in the same neighborhood and whatnot. And for the first time, she agreed to meet me. And she was waiting at a road called Chirumbolu. Then she calls back after 10 minutes. I said, just wait for me, I'm coming. Hang on. So I got there, I picked her. And just as I was completing the story, when I picked her, the phone that was there, it was now BlackBerry board. Wow, some of you are young, maybe. I don't know whether you are there. There was BlackBerry board. So BlackBerry was in levels. The top one was board. BlackBerry board. New car, new everything. Then I just thought in my heart to say, this story must be completed properly. And she was going to church. The sister was going to church. Then I said, no, I can take you. But you know what? I am feeling cold. Can I pass through? I just pick a cord. Yeah. A what? A cord. So he passed through, got to the gate, pressed what could be pressed, what could open, opened. And, we drove in. And he said, no, just come through and see where I stay. She comes in. Remember, everything new, plasma screen, everything new. Then I thought that maybe she might think this is my uncle's house. So I had to pass a statement. You see, when you're staying alone as a bachelor, and then I knew, we are talking about entrepreneurship. Yes, so life changed and levels changed. From that, a month later, another province buys, and I then decide to invest in transport. Also, that was the farming time. So then I decided to buy my first truck. So then I was about 22 years old. From that truck, I then move on. I start buying, so that was my very first one, 22. I start getting new ones. So that was the Mercedes-Benz, Artego. From that Mercedes-Benz Artego, I then move on to start buying two at a time. Now, at this point, I moved to what we call truck and trailers. And life is now, great. But then the unthinkable happens. 24th August 2014. One of my newly added trucks is involved in a tragic accident, as you can see there. Now, this truck is huge and big. But it was reduced to that because of the same accident. So many things happened on this particular accident. Number one, the driver had loaded 8 unauthorized passengers in the cabin. That was the first thing. So you see, we literally had to break that to get people out of there. 8 unauthorized passengers loaded in there who were badly injured. That was one. Number two, I was ferrying government maize. Then at the accident scene, people looted bags of maize. We had over 600 bags of maize, and we recovered less than 70. It was a huge, huge loss. And this is what it was reduced to. It was a huge, huge loss. And so it was a huge loss. Now, at this particular time, government maize is lost. People are badly injured, and they need compensation. And some families were demanding as much as, $15,000. And I was running this contract with the government. I request for my payment. They say, you have lost our maize. So then I tell them, deduct the value of the maize that was lost and pay me the rest. Then they say, okay, fine, let us write to the permanent secretary and whatnot, and I'm not getting my money. And foolishly on my side, and I'll repeat, foolishly on my side, these trucks were not comprehensively insured. It was a new truck, it was newly added, and I thought, let it make a trip, and as it comes back, I'll be able to normalize this. And that is how I lost it. So I had to pay people, compensate people, and that became the end of my transport business. I decided to let go. Then from that's how I then founded ADAC Investments, which is a construction business, and we've done phenomenal jobs in Zambia. And I then founded as well DLN Technologies, where we deal with banks. So ATM cards are given on instant issuance. And I've done a couple of other, projects, and I've received multiple local and international awards, Zambian Entrepreneur of the Year. And right there, I was in London. I've received a number of awards for my enterprising acumen, and I'm a respected entrepreneur in Zambia. And that is one of the most powerful gatherings that I had. All those people that are there are millionaires. And that is one of the most phenomenal gatherings that I've actually been at. And I recently founded DLN Entrepreneurship Institute. So as you can see on the screen, that has been made to train entrepreneurs in Zambia. It is the first of its kind. And my wish is to see many more people become entrepreneurs. So DLN Entrepreneurship Institute, and all has been great. And I do host, under the institute, I do host events like that particular one. It's a masterclass. And now when I'm hosting events, I host events at the stadium. And those are the numbers that attend whenever I'm speaking. And this is not a free event. This is not a free event. So you can check for this. DLN Entrepreneurship Institute, and you'll be able to see the great works that we are doing. And I think those are the numbers that we tend to have. So this is it about myself. And when I visit certain countries, that is the Vice President of Malawi. This is now the former President of Zambia. And this is the Deputy Chairperson of the African Union. Now you see, you need to understand this, that your presidents need to make appointments with certain people who are higher than them. And in this particular case, people from the African Union, those are the leaders of this continent. Now, that is the former Deputy Chairperson of the African Union. And he visited me in my office to see the works that we are doing in my country. So this just goes to say one thing. I shared that I come from the village. And this has been my rise from the village to where I am today. This is a story of possibilities. It says one thing. Even yourself, regardless of your background, regardless of the circumstances you may be in, entrepreneurship has the potential of impacting your life and making your life better. We need to move from the spirit of giving excuses for our failure. And I should say this. We give excuses for everything. We blame everyone for our failure except ourselves. The thing that has held a number with you. But even that excuse of being an orphan is going to expire. You can't be 40 years old and keep saying I'm an orphan. That excuse will expire. Every excuse expires. Not even the excuse of the economy holds. I mean, you might stand and say, imagine your grandfather saying, I am poor because the economy of Ghana in 1982, you should have been there. Though you may not respond to your grandfather, but you just say, Grandpa, in your heart, Grandpa, if you have nothing to say, you keep quiet. Why? Because even that excuse expires. So every excuse expires. Not even the excuse of the economy. You see, sometimes we blame our political leaders for our failure. You need to understand this. Your success as an individual is 100% your responsibility. 100% your responsibility. Because you could have people born of the same father, same mother, same house, same everything. One becomes successful and the other one doesn't. Why? Because your success is 100% your responsibility. And as I sit, I want to remind all of you that, you see, sometimes we blame even, the president this, the president that. They have a role, and their role is to create an enabling environment. But don't take it upon yourself that, let me blame the president for my failure. Forget about that. In fact, I pity the wives who are married to a grown-up man, who in their bedroom, the man is saying, you see, things are bad because the president. You are blaming another person's husband in your bedroom, telling your wife about another person's husband. Man up and own up, realizing that you are 100% in charge of your life. No one is given a good life, and no one is given a bad life. You are just given life. It is up to you to make it good or bad. May God bless you all.
Wow. This is awesome. And I told you that he is the definition of nanotechnology. Small package, but big inside. You see, there are certain things that we don't understand. He started by saying that he came from a poor family background. Some of us, from the same kind of families, we say we come from a humble family. What it means is that we don't know the difference between humility and poverty. We think poverty is the same as humility. He knew he was poor and had to come out of poverty. That was a big take for me. The second thing I saw about him is that in life, you have to define yourself, or else others will define you. And the definition that people give to you would not match who you are. As soon as he crossed to Botswana, he became an international businessman. You don't have to tell him. He has to tell himself and tell others. I respect that one also. Then I also observed something he said that many of us in Africa will find it difficult to understand. When he said, you are the author and the finisher of your own life. We won't understand. We feel it is God. It is God. Yes, he knows God. He is a deep spiritual person, a Christian. But you see, this is what I have observed. God provides the materials. You build your own life. So I agree with him absolutely when he said, you are the author and finisher of your own life. Then he talked about working with others, how to synergize, how to pull your strength together and make things happen. Then he came to the big one, failure. Failure. I believe that failure is the manure to mature. Failure is the manure to mature. And that is what has brought him this far. Somebody said the word fail is first attempt in learning. It's an acronym. First attempt in learning. My brother, you don't know what you have done to us this morning. Bringing can offer others in exchange for money. And you are not giving it out. You are not only poor, you are a fool. you are not only poor, you are a fool. Each and every one of us, there is something that we can give out in exchange for money. And yesterday we're having some discussions after service here, and one of the things that came up strongly, we should be able to differentiate between cash and money. Cash is paper, money is idea. And I salute my brother. Let's give another round of applause for our brother. And you see, money does not make anybody proud. Pride is a seated attitude. Money can only reveal it. If you are humble, it doesn't matter how rich you become. You still remain humble. If you meet this gentleman in the street, walking, you might not have any regard for him. And that is also one of the mistakes we make. We don't know our makers. You see, we don't know our makers. When he started, you might think that we just brought some ordinary person to know. Look at Franklin, the kind of things he told us, the projections that he has. And look at what Dumisani is doing. God bless you guys. Now, we want to have the opportunity for some questions. If you have a question, you're allowed to ask the question. Those of you online, it is also possible with you. You can just type the question, and then we'll pick it up and respond to it. But those of us in the auditorium, please, any question you have, we are ready to listen. But before we go into the question segment, it will be good to have some good music. Christ line, are you ready? You have to join me up here, and then you give us one great rendition. But because we are in Ghana, I expect high life. Let's do some high life at this point. And my brothers from outside of Ghana, high life is our own. And you would enjoy listening to high life music. Welcome, Christline. So please package the questions in your mind so that after they are done, we can ask the questions. Thank you.
Hallelujah, praise the Almighty God. He's worthy of our praise. Oh, praise God. He's worthy of our praise. Oh, praise God. He's worthy of our praise. Hallelujah, 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 praise the Almighty God. He's worthy of our praise. Oh, praise God. He's worthy of our praise. Oh, praise God. He's worthy of our praise. Hallelujah, praise
A round of applause for Christline Choir. That's amazing. That's amazing. And God bless you so much. Before we get into the time of questions and answers, the QA section, I just want us to know this. Please, CAM is an NGO. It is basically supported by individuals like you. So it is time to pick your phone. Do it just now. Just pick your phone, whether here in the auditorium or watching us on Hope Channel Ghana or 3ABN Ghana, or all the social media platforms, somebody just sent me a message and said, wow, this is powerful. As soon as you sent that message, pick your phone also and dial that code and then send a donation to the number 0591. Let me take it well. 0591 485 782. Let me repeat it again. Take your phone and then send Momo a donation to 0591 485 782. And the Lord will richly bless you. You can see the same number scrolling on your TV. And so you can just pick the number and then you send out something. Please, 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 we need the questions right now. All right, any question? Any question? Please, let's see you. Those in charge of the microphone, kindly give us a microphone. And then you also, at the back there, kindly move forward. We want to capture you. So come forward, and then you ask your question. Yes, the first gentleman, please come. Please come. And these questions will be answered by Brother Franklin, and then our second presenter in Kube. Whatever it is, they are willing to respond to our questions. So please, let's hear your question now.
My name is Charles Frimpong. First of all, I want to thank the speakers for such wonderful presentations. My question is to DLN, the second speaker, that's Mr. Nkube. We realize from his story and the presentation that he's been through different processes. I mean, he started different businesses. And along the line, one of the key things we've also picked up is that failure and then losses are part of the life of entrepreneurship. But you stopped, there are certain things you did, you realized there were breakages, you could not move, and you stopped to start a different thing. You know, sometimes it's difficult to draw a line on where to stop and where to continue to persist. So that it's also not like you start something, you meet challenges, or some things come up that you need to really press on and overcome, and then you just stop and go to do another thing. How do you draw the line? Where do you know that this has come to a point that I have to leave it and then go to a different thing, and where you need to keep pressing on, which is part of the key traits of an entrepreneur to ensure that you become successful? That's my question. Thank you.
Yes, my name is also Daniel, and my question is very similar to his, so I just wanted to add it to it so you'd answer it. See, there seem to be two schools of thought. One says that concentrate on one thing and do it. If you keep at it, you'll be successful. Another says that if it's not working, change. That's the life of an entrepreneur. You don't just sit at one place. So just to add to his question, let's put all together and try and answer us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. That question is a very powerful one. And the challenge with that question is that it has no direct answer. Every situation is a case-by-case situation. At what point to stop and to continue is dependent on many different aspects that are surrounding that particular decision. But I should indicate maybe one or two indicators that would be a bit helpful for you. When you are moving in a particular direction and you reach an end, or is it a loss, or circumstances that may be otherwise, when you have assessed yourself that you no longer have the zeal, the drive to continue with that particular project, it is one of the cues for you to stop. Now, let me say this. In every business engagement, you will lose many things. You will lose finances. You will lose talented employees. You will lose many things. It is part of the journey. But if you lose the zeal, the fire, the drive to push a particular project, that then becomes the first cue for you to see if you could stop it. Because you can't be taught to have the fire. I mean, no one can tell you to say, yes, go on, when yourself you have decided that, I know this thing, I'm done. So the first thing is, once you lose the fire, it's a cue to stop. But when you have met losses, but the fire is still there, you go to the next stage. And the next stage is, you look at the future. What are you projecting with that particular project? Is it showing any signs of being progressive? Or does it look like a dead end? If there is a chance of, or maybe let me say, if it has shown that this is the dead end, like nothing can be done about it, like it is done, it is done. Or I can give an example of postal services. In Zambia, postal services, people are no longer sending letters. So it is the dead end. If it has reached the dead end, you can leave it. Even if you have the zeal, you can leave it. But if there's a chance that, there's a way of going around this particular project, there is some future in this, you can still give it a shot and see how you can realign for that particular future. The challenge with that question is that every situation is extremely subjective. So your case and my case and somebody else's case may totally be different. So there is no one size fits all. It's a case-by-case arrangement.
Sometimes what we do, we run something we call business diagnostics. When a business doesn't go well for the first place, you need to be able to do some certain analysis. And you can see that now this business doesn't have a future. You need to be able to quit. Now, there are some businesses, you do the diagnosis, realize there's huge potential for growth. Just that certain things were not done right. Then we'll help you to right those wrongs. And the business will be on track. So check yourself that does the business has a sustainable future? Does it have a market? Is the prospect good? If it is, then what went wrong? Retrace your steps and right the wrongs. And you'll be in business again.
Thank you very much for those answers. Before we take the second question, please come to the mic. Come to the mic. Before we take the second question, I want to remind you once more, the number still remains 0591 485 782. 0591 485 782. You can send your Momo to this number to support CAM NGO. And then also, if you have any challenge, kindly text to this same number. We'll find a way of resolving that problem for you. But keep your donations coming, and God will bless you. Let's take the second question.
Okay, please. My name is Benjamin Etona. My question is, you said barter system works with the villagers. We wanted to know at this time of our age, does that still work? If you want to barter trade with the villagers, does this still work? And then my second question has to do with the job opportunities that are in Ghana, said by Mr. Franklin. How do we, the young people, get advantage or get notice of these businesses and take advantage of them? Thank you.
All right, so does barter system work in this age and era? Yes, it still does work. It still does work. At a very low scale, it is done. Even at a larger scale, I don't know if you've noticed that, I don't know, do you buy vehicles here once you buy?
Even swapping. We do swapping.
Yes, swapping. Swap and top up and what. All those are some form of barter system. Though it is a bit hybrid, it still works. It still works, and it can still work. Yeah.
We have a project we are running, and we've done barter system with the chiefs. I needed lands for a project we are working together, and I don't have the money to buy 100 acres of land. So I see the chiefs. I said, look, I want your land, and in exchange, I'll give you 1/3 of the proceeds that comes from your land. And we sign an agreement, and that's how we have thousands of lands sitting there. There's a cassava project we are about to run. We need 2,500 acres to plant cassava. I can't pay for all that amount of money, but I go with barter trade with the chiefs. The first thing you do, you buy them, they want some drinks, but I don't buy the drinks, you make it in money form. Then we sign an agreement that whatever project I'm running on that 100-acre land, the proceeds that comes out, the profits, I give them 1/3 of the profit in exchange for the lands they are giving to me. Barter still run in the villages. You are sitting in the city in Accra and you say you want to go into farming, there's no land. I can tell you, if you want 10,000 acres today, you will get it. And there's a big project, maybe I'll talk about it in the evening. We are doing 10,000 acres of rice to be able to close the gap of rice importation in the country. And the land is right here, close to the outskirts of Accra. Lands are available. If you really want to do something, you can do it. Yes, this evening come. I will share with you the top 20 opportunities in the area of entrepreneurship if you have some funds to venture. I'll open it up for you to see. And there are huge opportunities in this country. Huge. And with the advent of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Ivory Coast has become the next line. Togo, Benin, Zambia. Africa is opening up as one market. We don't limit ourselves in one country. We have a bigger market now to go.
All right, thank you very much. I just want to remind those who are watching online, there are opportunities in the auditorium because just after the Q&A session, we are going to have some discussions. And it's one thing to be sitting at home and watching these people, and it's another thing to come closer to them and share your stories with them. So I encourage you that this evening, make it a point to join us here. Once again, I want to remind you, just send that Momo. It's on your heart to support CALM for this great job it's doing for Ghana and Africa. 0591-485-782. Let me take that again. 0591-485-782. And you will be a blessing. Let's take another question from our brother. And then there's another one here. We have 3 questions to take, and then you respond to them.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to ask, as young as I am, I have established about 9 different businesses. They all collapsed. It's funny enough. And, okay, so some of the business I established, I employed people. I've employed about 4 people before. I was around 20 years. And the challenge I had was the people I employed felt they were older than me. But I also felt they can do it better. So I had to employ them. And because they felt they were older than me, how can this small boy employ we who are older than him? So they had to condone and connive, to dupe me. There was one guy I employed for my barbering salon, and he took everything in the salon and ran away, including my money, my computer, everything. So I realized probably entrepreneurship is not my thing. So I need to work for someone. So I had to start working for someone. And I realized working for someone started working for me. And before I realized, I started doing entrepreneurship again out of the money I was getting from working for someone. So I want to ask, is entrepreneurship for some special people, or if you think it's not going to work for you, you have to leave and work for someone for good? Or anybody at all, any human being is capable of being an entrepreneur? Please help me out.
All right, thank you. Well, that's a very sad story, and sorry for the losses. But like I indicated, in business there is profit and loss. So it's part of the journey. Now, to answer your question, I would put it this way. Others would say, are entrepreneurs born or made? Because then there is this notion to say, no, this one can can be an entrepreneur. No, for me, I think it is not meant for me. Or maybe I'll say a line that could be provocative. I don't think there is a human being who was created by God and can stand and say, me, I was created by God to only work for another human being. Me, I was created by God to only work for another human being. Nothing wrong with being employed, nothing wrong with that. But I should indicate that entrepreneurship can be learned and entrepreneurship can be polished. The same way you learned to speak English is the same way you can learn entrepreneurship. The same way we've learned different cultures, different accents, is the same way we can learn entrepreneurship. It is an issue of association and the people that are closer to you. I can give an example of Zambia. Zambia, you will notice that the people that are thriving as entrepreneurs, I don't know if it is the case here, Indians are doing exceptionally well. And who are very good business people? Lebanese and what? Indians and what? They don't search for employment. Now, are you going to tell me that they were born with the DNA of entrepreneurship? The answer is no. It is simply because from a very young age, they have been interacting in the realms of entrepreneurship, talking entrepreneurship at home and the people around them. And entrepreneurship has become a lot more natural for them. So it is something that can be learned. It is in a similar sense with politics. You notice that the current president of Kenya, as an example, the father was a politician. In fact, the biggest opposition leader in Kenya, again as an example, the father was the vice president. So are you going to tell me then that these people had the DNA of politics in them? It is not. It is because from a very young age, they've been interacting with this, and this has been a normal thing for them. So that simply tells us this thing, that entrepreneurship can be learned. Losses that you had are part of the journey. So don't relent. You can still hit back and hit back strong. The fact that you've had losses, it is an indication that you have higher chances of succeeding because you have experienced both sides of the journey. So to answer your question, anybody can be an entrepreneur. Anybody can learn to be an entrepreneur. Of course, there are some that have traits that naturally favor entrepreneurship, like risk-taking and whatnot. They have traits that favor entrepreneurship. But being an entrepreneur in itself is something that can be learned. Yeah.
And if you're going to be an absentee entrepreneur, you won't see the growth of your business. I don't know what systems you put in place to ensure that things are working right. In Africa, in Ghana, everyone is a thief when he or she is not being monitored. Even across the globe, everyone is a thief when he or she is not being monitored. Don't leave your business to chance.
Okay, so before we come to the next question, I'm a pastor. I'm not an entrepreneur yet. I'm learning from this man. But Jesus has a statement, very important for our brother. In Luke chapter 16, verse 12, he said, "And if you have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own?" I think your experience tells me that you needed to go study under someone, and that will give you the ideas to manage your own. Your faithfulness with your employer gives you the skills, the ability to now know how to handle people. Normally we expect without inspecting. If you expect results, you must also inspect. And that is very key. We have some questions online. We want to take those ones. Somebody is asking two questions. To both of you. So the first one goes to the first speaker. If you were to start your journey, the first speaker, if you were to start your journey all over, what will you have done differently? If you were to start your life journey all over, what would you have done differently? Then to our second speaker, what impresses you most when you are employing or hiring someone? What impresses you most when you are hiring or employing someone? Let us take these two questions.
If I am to start all over, I'll make sure that I have some source of livelihood before starting my entrepreneurship journey. I and my wife, we have suffered in building business from scratch with no source of income. So when I'm talking to the young people who want to venture into entrepreneurship, I tell them that have a source of something that can feed you and get you a place to lay your head. When you have a place to lay your head and you have something to eat, you can survive in the world of entrepreneurship. When you don't have something to eat, you don't have a place to lay your head, life is terrible. And that's what I want. And we started from ground zero, and it makes your growing curve very long. It makes your growing curve very long. If I have the opportunity to start all over, and those of you who have the opportunity and you have a job that generates some level of income, you are in the good position to start your entrepreneurship journey.
All right, thank you. So what impresses me the most is an ambitious person. So even as I'm employing, one who shows that they are ambitious, I think for me, that really drives me, because that really impresses me, because a person who is ambitious has the potential of contributing significantly to your business, though at the same time, a person who is ambitious has chances of leaving you because they are ambitious and they want to attain these big things. But a person who is ambitious, to me, is always better than a person who is just settled and is indifferent. So if you are to impress an employer, I think ambition is extremely, extremely important. You must show that you're a pusher, you're a driver, and you impact the business positively. And the challenge to employers as well, it is extremely important to know how to handle ambitious people. They are a huge resource in your organization, provided you can meet them as well at their point of need so that they don't leave you. Having ambitious people in your team, they can turn your company upside down. Unlike having people who are the yes boss kind of arrangement, those who will still be dependent on you, they'll never challenge you on anything, they'll just be saying yes to everything. So having an ambitious person for me is a huge...
All right, thank you very much. Somebody is asking the terms and conditions for consulting these experts. They will share with you, but I want to say one thing. What is happening so far gives me a clearer understanding about Jesus' parable concerning the wedding, the feast that was arranged. People were invited but refused to come. A meal has been served free of charge. The first term and condition for meeting these people is to come to the Nat Hall Auditorium, Accra, Ghana. Especially if you are within Accra and its catchment area, you can't miss this opportunity. Do you know what it takes to meet Brother Franklin? Do you know what it takes to meet Brother Dumi? But they've been here for the last 2-3 days. You need to come to the Nat Hall to experience, share your story, share your dreams. Indeed, I'm happy you said they are experts. They will help you to drive on. We'll take some questions from the auditorium here. Let's receive our brother.
All right, thank you very much. My first question, my name is Eugene, and my first question comes from a school of thoughts that goes around everywhere that says, whatever you are doing and then you don't have passion for it, you don't do it. As we are talking about entrepreneurship, I was also thinking on the path of career, like having a career path. And what you said right now, just a moment ago, confirmed it. That you get a career path, and then through that you will be able to build yourself to a certain level, and then through that career path, there is entrepreneurial ideas within, and then you dodge into it. Now, I am stuck. Personally, I am stuck at a place where I have some passion and then a career path I am following. But then there is another opportunity which the passion is not so much there, but then I feel I can do it. But where I am kind of confused and stuck is the fact that if I go for that opportunity, it is going to help me in a way cushion myself now and then later continue with my career path. And then the career path too, I feel if I go for that opportunity, it's going to be delayed for a while, of which that entrepreneurial idea I have on that career path will surely also be delayed. What you said about the fact that you have to get at a level before you enter into entrepreneurship. In fact, I'm a living testimony. I completed my national service and then, I completed my national service and then what happened was that the few money I had, I listened to an entrepreneur and then I was so gingered, just like we have listened to you, and then I entered into poultry farming. And then, in fact, because I was not having the grounding, and then the information I acquired too was very, very little, I collapsed. So that was, my first question was what I was battling about. Thank you.
All right. So you have your question answered. You have to always look at the low-hanging fruits. When you have an idea, some may be quite capital intensive, but you can look at some low-hanging fruit to be able to tap some resources to pursue the one that requires a high level of capital. And that's what we've been doing in our business to be able to ensure that we give attention to the dreams and the visions we have. Yesterday, a teacher approached me, said he has an idea. He wants to resign from GES. I said, wait, don't resign yet. This is not the time. You can take a salary loan and use that salary loan to develop that business idea you have. And whilst you develop it, when this business can pay you twice, 3 times of what GES is paying you, you are ready to quit. So this is how, because when you take a salary loan, the pressure is not on you, on your business. It's on your salary. And once they did that, you have the peace of mind to run and build the business. People will say that you don't take loan for start a business. Yes, that is true, but you can take a salary loan, which is secured, to be able to start a venture.
That is very important. I really appreciate this very answer. So we take this gentleman and the other one and probably bring the Q&A session to a close. But don't forget, we are still here at the auditorium. We are going to have a session that will be off air, and that is the benefit to those who are here in the auditorium. Let's hear our brother.
Okay, so my name is Klaus. First of all, I want to find out when our second speaker was presenting, he made mention of he deciding to move from the field of transportation to construction. I was trying to figure out what exactly could be the reason, because starting construction also requires capital. And so if it is for, let me say, the loss that he incurred as a result of the accident that he decided to change, then where did he get the capital to start the construction? And so I want to know the real, or let me say the factors he considered before changing the field of operation. And then the second one has to do with myself. I have the passion to invest in a particular business, but my passion is not, let me say, natural, but then it is driven by the profitability of the entrepreneurial idea. Am I on the right path? Or probably I need to have the passion for it before I do it. And so the first speaker said in the evening he's going to mention top 20 ideas that, or ventures that we can engage ourselves in. I really want to hear that, because Ghana, that we find ourselves in, we need to know some of these things and know where to venture. Thank you very much.
All right. I should begin by passing a comment with a person who was finding out to say, how do we get in touch with these people? Yes, so I'm on Facebook, and I use the names Dumisani Suni. So you can check for those, or just search for the Radical Entrepreneur. So you can see the content there. But in terms of meeting on a one-to-one basis, it might be quite difficult. Yes, but there you can see a lot of info that I've shared.
If you pay $20,000, you fly from Zambia and come.
Well, I think my charges are very public. So for me to speak, it is $10,000. $10,000 for a 40 minutes address. Yeah, it is clear. No, it is there. $10,000. My voice just doesn't come out. My voice comes with an invoice. So
a clap would do.
yeah. So you see, I feel bad when I see a number of us not taking advantage of such gatherings. This is the only place where we can easily interact in a church-related space where we can easily interact. Otherwise, outside some of these places, especially if you're in Zambia and there's security, there's what, you won't see me. If you want to see me in my office, you have to pass through the two secretaries, you have to pass through my PA, and if you want an appointment, some that you are calling for an appointment last week, their appointment is in December. So, and here you are, I'll be stepping out of this place, and we can interact quite easily, we can talk at that level. I think these are places that people should understand, that if you want to network, these are the best places to easily network. And they don't understand it when they don't take advantage of such gatherings. So for you who are here, give yourselves a round of applause to begin with. And we can as well give a round of applause to the organizers because they make it easier for you. Yeah, so I just thought I should put that across. These are places where you can take advantage of. Then to answer the question on the transport business, the reason why I left the transport business, it is similar to the answer that I gave to the other gentleman. I lost the zeal. I lost the fire for the business. Why did I lose the fire? That business, I think it was giving me a lot of headaches. You are receiving a call from a driver at 23 hours or at 11 p.m. You are scared of picking the phone from the driver. Because you are thinking, is it that they've arrived well? Is it that there's an accident? Is it that they have a breakdown? Just that headache for me just became too much, and I wanted, some freedom from that business. I really wanted to run it, but in the process, I lost the zeal. Was it still profitable? Yes, it was profitable. But why did I leave it? I lost the zeal. You can't push me to have the zeal. So when you've lost the zeal for the business, you've lost the power, the fire, then you've lost that particular business. Just move out. How did I then fund, the next business? Or maybe it is something that I could, gladly share on in the next, in the evening's presentation. Because the business that then got to be bigger, it was not the construction business, it was the technology business. So I'll be glad to share with you how I started with limited capital and managed to become a market leader within 12 to 16 months. Or maybe I can share that quickly in very few steps. So there are steps that I call the 4 radical steps. This is not textbook information. This is something that I have learned over time, with the failures and everything else. So these are the 4 steps that I want you to follow out in whichever business that you engage in. Number 1, know the game. Number 1, do what? Know the game. Research as much as you can in a field that you want to get in. Know, in fact, even that information that seems irrelevant, know it. It is extremely important. So when I was getting in the cards business, I got to know everything about cards, who the manufacturers are, when those companies were founded, who are the biggest manufacturers in Europe, in America. I knew everything about that business that has to do with the cards, like the ATM cards. So I knew the game. So that is number 1. Number 2, know your competition. Invest as much time as possible to understand who your competitors are. Your competitors are people who, if clients don't buy from you, they will then buy from those. Those are your competitors. Invest to know your competitors. I got to know who the major players in Zambia were, who the owners were. Now, that is information that sounds irrelevant. Who the owners are and everything else. And here's something that I found out from the two big companies in Zambia. The first one, the owner, was the permanent secretary at State House. So I knew that he had the political connections. The other one was running a company called NECO. Now, NECO is the company that has branches across the country in Zambia. So I knew them. Then I even got to know where they buy the machines from. So I knew that they were buying machines from Dubai and South Africa. So I knew. Number one, I knew the game, then I knew the competitors. And how did I get to know the details of these competitors? One of the things that I did is I got in and bought certain products from these companies, products that I did not really need, but I had to buy just to get closer to the salespeople and understand how they do what they do. So know the game, know your competitors. Number 3, differentiate yourself. There is nothing wrong with copying a business idea, and I should say this. If there is a business idea that you have seen, you like it, you have passion for it, and you think you can do it, copy it. Nothing wrong with copying a business idea, but there is everything wrong with implementing the business idea you copied the same way you copied it. You need to understand that there are very few original ideas in the world. Very few. A number of them are copied, improved on, and differentiated. I can give an example of Facebook. Facebook is not the first social media platform. It is only that when it came out, it was a lot more interactive, a lot better, and whatnot. But it was not the first one. Amazon was not the first e-commerce site. Alibaba, same thing. But these guys copied and focused on a particular market. The private schools that you have in Ghana, those that are even flourishing now, they are not the first private schools in Ghana. The thing is, they are different from the ones that they copied from. So there is nothing wrong with copying a business idea, but there is everything wrong with implementing your business idea the same way you copied it. So for myself, when I picked the cards business, I knew the game, I knew the competitors. On differentiating myself, I decided, instead of buying the machines from distributors the same way our competitors were doing, I decided to contact the manufacturers. Now, here's the key that I want you to pick, because things lie here. When contacting the manufacturers, I was cutting the process. Because these were buying from distributors who in turn buy from manufacturers. But in my case, I was then contacting the manufacturers for the machines. Now, the first email that I sent to the manufacturers, therein lies the secret. Here's what happens. Most of the big companies in the USA, Europe, and whatnot, they want to work with Africans. But there's a problem. Most of us Africans are just time wasters. Just time wasters. So in that first email that you send, I sent as a person who understands the game. So from the email, I said, no, I'm in Zambia, the population is this, there's this opportunity, and we can do what, and your biggest competitors are. From the first email, I showed them that I know what I'm talking about. Then they responded. Then they called for a meeting. So it was a French company, so that you just pick it up. It was a French company, and they said for us to discuss further. After the email, immediately they called, because from the email it showed that I'm very, very serious and I know what I'm talking about. Then they said, for us to deal with you, come through, we have a discussion in a town called Angers. So it is in Paris, then from Paris you go to a place called Angers. Went there, got that side, and met with these guys, and we are having a conversation to become their distributor, or for them to sell me their machines directly. So then after the conversations, they then said, for you to get the initial stock, this is the amount that you're supposed to spend. It was about $100,000. And the reason is simple. Manufacturers don't deal with small companies for a simple reason. They don't want to go through the headache of dealing with small companies. So they deal with distributors who in turn deal with small companies. But in my case, I said I don't have that kind of money, but I can represent your brand very well in Zambia. But they said it is either that or nothing. So at the end of the meeting, after negotiating and saying, no, I just have, the amount was the $3,000, $4,000 that I had. So they're saying, no, we can't deal with you. Those are very small amounts. And you see where you are still pleading for them to put you on board, and then the people you are having a meeting with, they are now asking you questions like, so when is your flight? Like clearly it is a non-starter. Then I pulled one card, and the card was this. I said, you see, the biggest competitors in Zambia for you are A, B, C, D. And I don't understand how you can let go of this particular opportunity, because in Africa, your market share has been reducing for the past 5 years. In fact, I don't even understand how you came back in your 1998 mistake, where you had launched this machine and on the market it was not accepted. What I basically pulled out was to let them understand that I know what I'm talking about. And guess what? Exceptionally, they accepted to deal with me with $3,000. Now, this is a multinational company for a simple reason, because I knew the game. So when they gave us the dealership with that mega capital, it is what brings to the fourth point: implement. Know the game, know your competition, differentiate yourself, then implement. When we implemented in Zambia, whenever we would send quotations, our quotation was the cheapest. Why? Others are buying from distributors, we are buying from manufacturers. So our pricing is very low. That's one. Number two, on our quotation, we would always attach another letter saying we are the official distributors in Zambia. Number three, we would attach another document that says, in case you face any challenges with our machines, return within 3 years, no questions, we'll give you a new one. And that's how we started beating competition one by one. Everywhere we took a quotation, would get business. The only problem came in when we hit business that was in excess of $500,000. Then the big guys are very interested in these big dollars. So then they were like, who won this business? DLN Technologies. Who are they? Then they investigated. Then they saw our quotation. Then they decided, because they were the bigger guys, they decided to get in touch with the manufacturers, the same thing that we did. So they wrote an email, but it was too late. At that point, I had sealed with the manufacturer. So when they wrote an email, we agreed with the manufacturers that when an email comes from Zambia, immediately we should be copied. So they copied an email to us of a company which is coming from Zambia. And that's how we beat our competition and we became the market leaders. So to answer your question, that is how I got started. And my advice to you, every business, regardless of how big, how small, maintain those 4 steps. They will be very, very helpful for you. I don't know if that is helpful to you.
Yeah, he gave us 2. In the evening, you do the last 2. So I don't know whether you have something to... Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do... You have a second question? He has capital. Sorry? But you have no entrepreneurial idea.
No,
you have no passion. Okay.
Oh, you have no,
he has no
you
passion.
have no passion for a particular business idea?
Yes.
Or can you continue that? Or maybe can you get on the mic so that I just get that clear?
So what I'm trying to say is that I have the capital. Should someone come tell me, oh, we can do barbering, we can do poultry, we can do this, I look at the profitability of it, not the passion. But I have the capital. Am I on the right course?
All right. So can you do a business that you have no passion for? Now, here's the thing. If you can do a business that you have passion for, that is hallelujah, 100%. You've now hit a jackpot. Now, you need to understand one thing. There are passions that cannot be monetized. So you may be passionate about something, and it's a great passion, and you can do it very well, but if it cannot be monetized, forget about it. There is a chance that you can do a business that you have no passion for, that is still fine. But if you can find a business that can be monetized, and it is your passion, that is hallelujah. Now, let me explain this. I was selling goats.
Do I have passion for gods? No. So you can do a business that you have no passion for, but if you can raise money from it, if it is profitable and you can raise money from it, it can make it possible for you to invest in your passion. Make sense? So I can give an example. I've done the goals, I've done all these things that I had no passion for. What I do now, this issue of sharing on entrepreneurship, I think I've come to realize that I have so much passion for this. And of course, I praise God for a simple thing that I stopped stammering. So for me, this is a miracle. The fact that I can say these sentences without stammering, to me, every time I'm speaking, I feel so nice. And in fact, even right now, I feel so nice that I can speak without stammering. So to me, this is passion. So what have I decided to do? I was just sharing with my leaders yesterday that I've put $3 million. How much is $3 million in? That's about 30 million cedis. Also 30 million cedis. In an investment that has to do with, building people to become entrepreneurs, pushing people to become entrepreneurs. To me, that is passion. Is it profitable? For the past 3 years, it hasn't been profitable, but I still do it because I just have passion and I get the meaning out of it. So you can start with things that you have no passion for and get to things that you have passion for. Now, this passion, I didn't have it back then. I think allow me to say this. I share this and I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship for two things. Very, very important. Two things. Number one, when I got into the transport business, I became successful at the age of, 22. 22, 23, I had these truck and trailers, and people couldn't believe that a 23-year-old could own such. And I remember at one point, at a checkpoint, a traffic cop had trouble with one of my drivers. The traffic cop insisted that he wanted to see the owner of the truck. So my driver calls me. I get to the checkpoint. The moment the traffic officer saw me, he shouted at my driver saying, I told you to call the owner, not the son, to the owner. So I had to be there now trying to prove, say, no, DLN, those are my initials. So I started off quite early. Now at that point, this is painful, but I'll still say it. There are people that couldn't believe a young guy could do that. And what did they then do? They termed me a Satanist. This guy, obviously, he's a what? He's a Satanist. How can a 22, 23-year-old own such things? This guy should be what? A Satanist. And sometimes people that would say such things are people who are close to you, people who've seen you grow. And they can't believe that you can move from poverty and become successful. So they called me that. And I should say that this was very painful. Very painful when I got wind of it. It was so painful to a point that at one point I sat and said, maybe I should just stop working so that I become poor, so that when I become poor, I can be accepted by everyone. So that particular incident pushes me to want to share with many others so that a lot of people can become successful. That was one. The other thing that has pushed this particular passion, 2015, I go for a meeting in France, get to the airport. It was my first trip that side. Getting to the airport, the immigration lady questions me, where are you from? Of course, that was a very useless question because she was holding my passport. But still I said, I'm from Zambia. Then she says, what are you here for? I said, I'm here for a business meeting. From which company? I said, DLN Technologies. Who are you that side? I'm the CEO. Then she looked at me with suspicion. I don't know why. She was suspecting me for whatever. So she says, invitation letter. I show her the invitation letter. Next question, hotel bookings. I show her that. Then she requests for something that I did not have. And that was the banking, bank statements. So I said, no, I don't have the bank statements. I saw no need to move around with them. And this lady is adamant. We end up in the hands of the supervisor. The supervisor, so they actually communicate in French. Then the supervisor questions for the bank statements. Then I tell the supervisor to say, you see, sir, when you are at a university, you have an identity card and a student number. As you enter the lecture room, it is unreasonable for the lecturer to ask you for your grade 12 results and your acceptance letter and everything else. Why? By virtue of you having an identity card and a student number, it shows that you've passed through the process. In my country, to get the visa to come here, it takes as long as 21 days. I was interviewed, I submitted the bank statements, I saw no need to move with the bank statements. Then this man says, well, I have no choice but to put you on the next available flight back to Zambia. So in my mind, I'm like, no, this is like deporting me. And this cannot happen. At that point, the Spirit just came out to say, this is how Africans are ill-treated. If no one is standing against this, I will stand against this. Then I told him, no, you can't do that. You have no right to do that. I have the visa, and I will be here. Then he insisted. I said, listen up, we are going to court. Of course, I'd never been to court in my entire life. And you see, it was one of those threats that you just give, say, I will sue you, and you don't even know where to sue and how to sue. So it was that, that threat, But at that point, I truly felt it. Luckily, they have a very interesting system on how, you can sue the government and whatnot. Entered the papers, and I was set to appear in court on the third day, after 3 days, for the first time in my life. But since I could not be held at the airport for 3 days, I was taken to the Red Cross Center. In a police vehicle, people with guns in the vehicle, one vehicle in front, another one behind, and sirens are on. I was taken to the Red Cross Center. They got my laptop, my phone, and everything, and locked me up. Third day, I appeared in court for the first time in my life in France. At that point, I'd received the email of my bank statements. The judge looks at my passport, and she says, this guy has an authentic visa, so you had no right to hold him. Number two, she looks at the bank statements, and she says, the kind of money that this guy makes in his country, he cannot possibly make it here. So he has no motivation to come and stay here. So I was released by the court. So if you looked at my passport, the first time I entered France, it was not stamped because I was released by the court. But something hit my mind after that incident. I am from the courts. The meeting I had gone for has ended. The other dignitaries, they are now flying out of the country. For me, this is when I'm coming out of the court, getting into France. Something taught me, and a thought hit my mind. Those that you are coming from well-to-do countries, you are from the US, stamp, no question, nothing. Or you are from stamp, no questions, nothing. But because I come from a third world country, I had to be subjected to that. And at that point, I was reasonably successful. Then I realized that being successful alone is not enough. We need a number of us to be successful. And I resolved at that point that I would do the best. I would do the best to see how Africans can rise to the occasion. And the route is entrepreneurship. I need to see many more millionaires. I can be a millionaire, but I will not be respected. They'll just ask funny questions, and they'll lock me up. At that point, I decided that being a millionaire alone, being successful alone is not enough. I must get down on the ground and see how we can raise a number of others. That is my passion. And now, because I have the resources, I have the finances, I can do so much more to push my passion. I don't know if that answers the question on passion.
It does. Thank you very much. To be frank, I have learned something very great today. Some of us have been following our passion, but the passion does not give money. It doesn't give money. Charity. And I go home to cry. So I have to do something that can monetize. And when the money comes freely, my passion can go. That is the spirit. Thank you very much. And I love that one. See, some of us talk so much, we are paid less. But his voice comes with an invoice. Did you get that one? His voice comes with an invoice. Our voices shall receive invoice. Don't just claim it. We have to work it out. Amen.
All right.
So thank you very much. You
So
want to add
we have
something?
a gift for those in the auditorium. We brought some juice and a taste of our product, the bread, for all those in the auditorium. Sorry to those who are outside here.
Thank you very much. There are several other questions, but for the want of time, we would break at this moment. In the evening, make sure that you are here. And I'm repeating myself again. This parable of Jesus Christ, this particular time, is making real sense to me. When meals have been served and people are hungry in the streets and yet they will not come to the table, make your way to the auditorium. It's open till evening. To be frank, you can decide to stay here till we meet again in the evening. We want to thank our two brothers, Brother Dumi and Brother Franklin. God bless you so much. You are pushing for Africa. And you can take your seat for now. And God bless you. God bless you. You see, what they have told us, for me, I'm so pleased. Because at this level of their lives, they want to grow human beings. He is spending $3 million to grow human beings. It means he's thinking generationally. If you raise one human being, you are affecting a family, a community, a nation, and you are influencing the entire globe. And I think that is powerful for me. We would invite Christ's Line Choir again. We have so much to do, but for the want of time in the evening, we will continue. You can see that on day 4, the whole idea of CAM, Center for Outreach, Mentorship and Empowerment, is coming to reality. And you cannot sit back, but to join in success. God is blessing us. God is blessing Ghana. God is blessing Africa. And God is blessing the world. If we pull ourselves together with much strength, the world will respect Africa. The world would respect Africans. After their song, we'll take a closing prayer and bring the curtains down. But don't forget to we'll take some announcements and then we'll come to a close for this morning. But don't forget to be still pushing the money through 059-148-5782. We are in the hands of Christ Line Choir. Take it up from there.
Mami yase suchama nyami susume shame konfa so unshira gumiso Mami Yesu chama nyami sunsume chame konfa Jimmy Tata Yesu na mashasio Mama huodi mirei metumia sumo Wune kwanchrefu Wune ochechrefu Nyami sunsume chame konfa Jimmy Tata Yesu na mashasio Mama huodi mirei metumia sumo Wune kwanchrefu Wune ochechrefu Nyami sunsume chame Jimmy Tata Denyina Chachirafo Nyami sunsum Jimmy Tata Denyina Nyami tusme Miwo Yesu, Miwo Yesu, Miwo Yesu, Denyina. Tata.
We thank you so much. Let's kindly take notes of the following announcement. As you heard from our speakers, make sure you don't miss this evening's session. As what you've heard this morning is just the introduction. The real deal is yet to come. So please, let us not be selfish. Share the links, invite someone, and note that it is not enough to just join virtually if you are in Accra. Grab the opportunity to meet these speakers in person in the auditorium at no fee. Join us at the NAT Auditorium for even much more. Remember, today's session is dedicated to innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Please note, it is not just enough to come. Kindly endeavor to come early so that you don't miss out on anything. Remember, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Kindly note that if you're a media house or have an engaging online platform that would be useful to God's cause and you would like to share this inspiring content, contact us on 0591 485 782. 0591 485 782. Please, as you realize, this conference is absolutely free, indicating that it is fully funded by individuals like you and I. However, all has not been sorted. Therefore, we do need your assistance, so no amount is too big or small. You can do so by making your donations to 0591 485 782 or contact the same number for enquiries and further assistance. Please, we are entreating all who have not registered to do so because all our correspondence will be done through your contact used in registration. You can do so by dialing *928 *450#. Because we want to support businesses, we are giving opportunities for businesses to exhibit their products on the ground at a small fee. Contact the same number if you are a business owner and you are interested in this opportunity. Ellis Mukasi food court will be available every day. So if you are hungry after, you can, go outside and get yours. Please, tomorrow's morning session will be mostly online. As we indicated that during weekdays, the morning sessions are from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. However, if you are close to the auditorium, it will still be open, so you can join. However, the evening sessions for weekdays and as well as the weekends will be 6 p.m. to 8:30, so we entreat everyone to be in the auditorium. Come every evening with an offering to praise God and support this beautiful program. Thank you, and see you in the evening. Hello. Please, for our closing prayer, we call Pastor Ebenezer up here to come and pray for us. Thank you.
Please shall we be upstanding as we pray. Our Father in heaven, want to thank you for a life transforming message that we have heard since morning to this time. Thank you for our speakers talking about entrepreneurship. Help us so that we can develop ideas and work on our ideas. We want to commit the evening session into your hands. Bless us as they speak to us again, so that it can change our lives, especially those on the continent of Africa. Be with us and bless us. In Jesus' name have I prayed with thanksgiving. Amen.
Jehovah, 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 Jehovah. Onya tujo, 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 tujo mo, tujo mo.